Hello and welcome to this second webinar in our series of webinars covering the Midvision RapidDeploy 4.0 basics. Today we're going to build on the first webinar, which looked at installing RapidDeploy and then uploading your first project from our demo site, which simply showed the anatomy of a project and how to do some file system manipulation. A very simple first project. Today we're going to extend that to running a script on a target server or servers, and we're going to parameterize that script with some command line arguments and some environment variables, and they're going to be changed in each target that we deploy to by the use of data dictionary items. So I'm now going to go ahead and log into RapidDeploy on localhost 9090, and I'm going to use the username and password mvadmin, which is the default username and password when you first install RapidDeploy, although you'd be encouraged to change that in your installation, and particularly in any production versions that you might be using. Okay, so let's go and have a look at our projects, and we can see that we have the one project that we installed last time. So now we're going to upload a new project into our demo instance. So on the portal, you can go to the example project Hello World. You get to it from RapidDeploy, example RapidDeploy projects, and then Hello World. Make sure you pick the 4.0 and not the 3.5 version. Again, as for the previous project that we looked at, there's some information online here about how that project can be uploaded and used. It's basically what I'm going through now. But also there's a useful Explore link here, and I'd urge you to go and look at that after watching this webinar, so that you can go through that at your own pace and have a look at the various features available in this project. But for now, we'll just download this project to my downloads folder, and then we'll go back into our RapidDeploy instance and we'll just upload that into RapidDeploy. And we're now in the import wizard. We'll leave the values on the first page the same. The only things we really need to change is the project directory. I've already got that here. So I'm just going to change that in every place that it's needed. So this is where we're storing the project artifacts once they've been packaged. And this is just where we're writing the logs. Okay, and we'll just import this project. We can see that this project has been imported. Now we already had a localhost Linux defined from our previous project, so we've added a new server now, localhost Windows, with the dev environments. Okay, so let's go and have a look at this project then and see what it does. The front page you'll be familiar from the first project, it's very similar. But this orchestration panel is now much smaller than, and on the face of it looks much more simple than the previous project that we imported. But in fact this is going to show some more interesting features of RapidDeploy. So let's go through each of these tasks in turn. We know we need to have an initialization and a finalization task. Let's first of all have a look at this echo task. This is just echoing something into the log file. And the message that it's echoing is, you can see here, it's specifying archive root in curly braces with a $, in front of it. Now what this is this is a built-in variable. RapidDeploy supports a number of built-in variables which are always surrounded in curly braces and preceded with a $. This one, archive root, is quite an important one. When we copy the package over to any target to initiate a job, that package, which contains all the configuration and all of the dependencies and resources of that project, is expanded, and the top level of that expansion is called the archive root. So in any of the tasks in RapidDeploy, any of the tasks on this left-hand side menu here, you can refer to that location, the archive root, as $archive root. And that's important because RapidDeploy will always put a unique ID on the name of that archive root directory that gets created on the target, so that if there are parallel deployments happening, they're not likely to overwrite each other. And so you can always refer to anything inside your archive using this value. And then there are a couple of others that are being demoed here. MVUUID will generate a unique ID, which you can then use to create, say, directories or whatever. A date, time here, and you can find other values in docs.midvision.com. If you go to the Orchestration tab and look at built-in variables, these are all of the built-in variables that you can use when you're running RapidDeploy, and you can use these anywhere in any of your orchestrations. Okay. So now let's look at the next task. And this is now showing environment variable expansion. So once we've looked for built-in variables, we're then going to look for environment variables. And they're represented as you'd expect them to be in the sort of Unix syntax of $ curly brace followed by the name of the variable. So a variable that's quite common on Unix systems is the home environment variable. And so this is now going to be echoed out to whatever the home environment variable is set to from the instance of RapidDeploy that's running on the target server. So that's not the actual framework server, but that's the orchestration that's running on the target. So in the case of SSH, that would be any environment variables that are set in the SSH shell on that target server, or in the case of the remoting agent, any environment variables that are set in the shell of the agent when the agent was started. Later on, we're going to look at some different environment variables that are set for the individual script. And then lastly here, we're looking at a home again, but this time it's set inside these ampersand, double ampersand symbols. And this is what we call a data dictionary item. Anything found inside these double ampersands is a data dictionary item. And these can be different per target that we deploy to. And we specify these at two possible scopes, either the project scope or the target scope. They will always be set at the project scope. They could be blank, but they will always have a key at the project scope. They may or may not be set at the target scope, and we'll see that later. Okay, the next task is simply copying a script from inside our deployment package, inside the archive root under scripts bin, hello world dot followed by an extension, which will depend on whether we're on Windows or Linux, and that's called scriptxt. So if we remember that, we'll come and see what that's actually set to in our different environments. And we're copying that source into the target, which is the temp directory. Okay, let's go and have a look at the actual script runner task then. This is the task that's going to run the script on the target. The path to the script to run is now /temp/hello world.scriptxt, so either hello world.sh or hello world.bat. The arguments are being specified in this data dictionary value script args, so they might be different in different environments. And then we can see here we have a number of environment variables being set for this script. And these are set to be MV shape, MV size, and MV color. And the reason that we're using data dictionary item here as the values is because they're going to be different in each invocation of this script that we're running in different targets. We could add more environment variables if we wish to. Okay, so where are these data dictionary items set? Well, on the next tab here we see a tab called Data Dictionary. We can click on that tab, and this specifies all of the data dictionary items at project scope. Okay, so we can see that by default, if it's not set anywhere else, the color will be red. It will be a square with 4 sides. The script arguments will pass in the shape, the color, and the sides, and this line shows that one data dictionary item can actually be made up of multiple other data dictionary items and or including other strings as well. And we can see that we're running this on Linux by default. We're using sh as the script extension. Okay, we've looked at the SCM repository and artifact repository in the previous project. We're going to skip here straight to the targets. And you can see we've got 4 targets defined. 2 running on Windows and 2 running on Linux. For now I'm going to leave the Windows ones and just concentrate on the Linux ones. That's where I'm running today. So we have 2 environments, one defined as blue circle and one defined as red square. Let's go and have a look at the red square first. And let's have a look at the data dictionary items here. The scope for these is all set to project. That means that we haven't set any specific data dictionary items for this environment. So they're all coming from the ones we set at the project scope. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the blue circle. We look at the data dictionary here. Now we can see that although the home directory is coming from the project, and why not? Because it's set to the $home environment variable anyway, so there's not really much point in overriding it. But the color, the shape, and the sides are overridden. The script arguments, well, they don't need to be overwritten because we're passing the same set of arguments into the script itself. Of course, the values of those arguments are now going to be different. And the script extension is also not overridden because we're still using a shell script. Okay. So now let's actually go and look at the script that we're going to run. We can look at that in here because it's inside the project. This could have been an external resource, but we chose to have it inside the project. And this is a very simple script. It's just checking that we have the right number of command line arguments, 3. The first one is the shape, the second one is the color, and the third one is the sides, which is echoed out. And then later on, we echo the environment variables mv color, mv shape, and mv sides. So, very simple. Okay, let's go to the packages. Now, I've already got a package here, so I'm going to create a new package. Okay, I've got a new package. I can deploy this package. I can either go to the jobs new job, or I can just go here and use the quick link to make that deployment. Well, let's first of all deploy this red square Linux instance. Yeah, I want to deploy that. So now we can go to jobs, running jobs. We can see that this job is executing. We can see the tasks, and we can see the job log in real time. Okay, and that's completed successfully, so that will be cleared off this screen in a moment. We can go and have a look at the log file for this. Now I'm not going to look at the first piece, we covered that in the previous webinar. I'm going to go down and look at this echo task here. Now we can see here that we're echoing the archive root, and you can see that the archive root is a directory here, and you can see the UUID put in front of the name of the package to make sure that we get a unique directory created. We can see the UUID and the date in milliseconds. Then we can look at the environment variable expansion here. See that the home directory is set to users Richard Bettison, and the home from the data dictionary is also users Richard Bettison. And we can see that being echoed out here. So this is the line that we were looking at in the message, and we can see that being echoed. Then we're doing the copy from inside the package to the temp directory, and then we're running the script. Okay, so we can see in this invocation we were using square, red, and 4. You can see the environment variables are set. MV sides is 4 there, MV color is red there. And then the script is actually run, and the output of the command line arguments is here. Shape, square, color, and sides, and then the environment variables are shown here. Okay, so let's now go back to the project. And this time we'll go and run the other target, the blue circle. Go and look at the running jobs again. Again, we can see that's running and now completed. Can go and view the logs. I don't propose to look at all of the log file. But if we scroll down to the script runner task, now we can see that the same output, except this time we've got blue and 1, and blue and 1. Okay, so we've seen how we can run a script on a target server, and we can give it different command line parameters. We can deploy it to different servers, different environments on the same server, so that we can run this script in many different invocations with lots of different parameters on the same or different servers, and we can create different results. Okay, so I'm now going to go back into this script demo and I'm going to make a change to it. So I'm going to add a new task. I'm going to add an echo task to this. So I'm going to choose that echo task, I'm going to add it. Right, and I'm going to move that to run after the previous echo task. I'll change the name of it to, let's think, echo data dictionary. Okay. So we're going to echo out a data dictionary item value. We'll make that message demo dictionary. Now we could look and see what data dictionary items are available. And we're not going to choose one of the ones that's available. We could pick one that's available. We're actually creating a new one. Okay, so I'm going to save that. We go back into edit mode. Okay, so we can see that's there. If we now click on data dictionary tab, we don't have this data dictionary value. So I'm just going to click the discover button, and that has now discovered that data dictionary item and left it with a blank value. So I'm going to leave it with a blank value there. I'm going to click save. Okay, so we now have a new task with a data dictionary item that hasn't been set. Now I'm going to go on to a target. I'm going to go to blue circle, go back into edit mode. I'm going to edit that blue circle. So now we see this comes up as red because it's not only is it empty at the project scope, it's also empty at our local scope. So I'm now going to edit that value and I'm going to set it to something on blue circle. I'm just going to call it blue circle. Now we can see that it comes up with the amber environment scope, which means it's configured at the environment scope but not at the project scope, which means there could be other environments or targets which don't have this set at all. I'm going to save those changes and then save the entire project. Okay, I'm now going to create a new package. Let's refresh that. Okay, we've got a new package. So I'm now going to deploy that blue circle again. And we'll go and look at that job. And let's go and view the log. If we scroll down, we should be able to see that my data dictionary is set to blue circle. So now we've successfully run that. Now I'm going to run a new job this time. And I'm going to choose, and you can see here now I've got my environments that I can see that I can deploy. So on Linux, the red square. Now I'm going to use the latest version of the package. And I'm going to click next. And now we see that it says late properties to remain to be configured. Now if you remember, on the red square we didn't have a value set for the data dictionary item at either the project or the target scope, and it would come up as the red empty at that scope. We only set it at the environment target scope for the blue circle. And so now this is what's called late property injection. What this means is any data dictionary item that's blank at both the project and the target scope will be asked if we want to complete it just before we do a deployment. This is very useful where we want to enter something such as a password that we never want stored in a file on a file system, even though it might be encrypted. In the case of RapidDeploy, it's very simple to encrypt all of the properties and all of the data dictionary items in our orchestration. Click on late config and we see that we've got one value that's not set, and I'm going to set this to red square. I could choose at this point to leave it blank. I could also choose to encrypt it even at this point so that it's passed around in an encrypted value even though it's never stored on the file system. I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to skip to finish, go next. I'm going to start that job. So here we can look at the job in real time. Again, it's a little too quick to really see that. And we're going to look at this log file. And I just need to find the right area, and there we can see my data dictionary is red square. Okay, so we finished this project. I think we've demonstrated the use of data dictionary item values, a project, an environment scope or target scope. We've also shown how you can use built-in environment variables, built-in variables and actual environment variables set in the shell of the target's orchestration, be that using SSH or remote agent. Hopefully this has been a useful webinar for you. Please check back and look at the next in the series of webinars when we'll be looking at a more detailed or more complex deployment using deployment plans and linked deployments. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you again soon.